The Blue Collar Success Group. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody this bright, sunshiny morning? Anybody not in the sunshine this morning? Anybody got some rain out there, or has everybody got some nice, hot, sunny weather? I'll give y'all a minute to get in, get connected to audio, get your cameras on, all that kind of fun stuff. Shane says decent up here. Shane, where you at? Where are you located at, my man? Newfoundland. Yeah, you're up there. You are up there, my friend. So good stuff. Cool. Well, let's I won't keep you guys. Like, you showed up to get some sales training this morning. So how about we jump in and do some sales training? Y'all with me? Ready to rock and roll? Cool. Let me share my screen and we will jump in and kick this thing off. All right. Now I'm gonna ask y'all to do me a favor today. Since we all showed up looking for sales training, the only thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is play full out. You know, you're here, you're awake, you're alive. It's a great day to go out and make some sales. So let's play full out, make sure that we're ready to rock and roll this morning. All right, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm not going to go through how to turn your cameras on. Most of you got your cameras on, so we're good. Renaming yourself. This is one that would be super helpful for me. I can see that Shane's got it done. Shane went from Shane to Shane at Shock Free. Thank you, Shane, for that. So if you do me a favor, if you're in a company, just the company name is fine. Like, we've got Olin Plumbing, we've got Anchor, we've got Locklear. Like, that's great. But if it's just you, rather than just your name, drop your name and your company name, and you can see how to rename yourself. Click the three dots as you hover over yourself, and it'll show you how to do it. And then you can just put John Smith, company name, whoever you are there. That'd be awesome. I would greatly appreciate it. How to open and use the chat. I'm going to tell you, this slide did not get updated, but how to use the chat is a little bit different. So it's actually, if you look at your chat, you're going to see that it automatically defaults to messaging everyone. If you want to change that, in the chat box, there's a little blue button in the top left-hand corner that's got a pin in it. That is how you can change it to chat somebody individually if you want. We'll have this updated for you in next week's Profit-Driven Training. Zoom just did an update, and of course, they got to change some stuff. It is what they do, right? And then last but not least is how to use reactions. So if you want to do some reactions today, you hear something that you love or you're excited about, feel free to use reactions. So let's jump in and let's talk about, for our sales specialists in the house today, let's talk about 6 keys to close more. So today we're going to talk about 6 keys to close more sales. Now, I want to be clear that today the calls that we're talking about are large ticket types of calls. So these are your large ticket replacement calls. This is a client calls in and says, if I'm electrical, I want to get a price on a generator. I need a new panel. I need a service. I need a rewire. So those are our electrical calls that we'll be talking about today. For HVAC, it's when somebody calls in and says, yeah, I need to replace my AC system. I need to replace my ductwork. For plumbing, it's, I need to get a new water heater. I'm interested in water quality. I need to have my water repiped, my drain repiped, water line, sewer line. It's those large ticket type of jobs that somebody called in for. We're going to focus specifically on those and how to close more of those today. Okay. So key number 1, and probably the most important key, uncover motive. Uncovering motive is the key to the rest of the call. It's what unlocks everything else that happens after that. So we start the call the right way by digging into their motive. And the reason that we do that, and the reason it's so powerful, is because motive is the most powerful piece of information that we can capture during a sales process. Like, I understand that we know why we're there. I was an in-home salesperson for AC. So the leads that I ran said, customer wants an estimate on a new AC system. Okay, cool. I know that they want an estimate on a new AC system. What I don't know is why. And so the client giving us their why is the most important piece of information that we can get. Like, I know I'm there to quote you an air conditioning system. What I need to do is uncover your motive, your why, and your belief as to why you need a new fill in the blank. So we cannot assume that there's motive behind this just because we're there. Because that's how we get to the end of the call and they say things like, "Oh, well, we're just looking at it, we're planning on doing something down the road, or we've got to uncover, why do you believe you need a new fill in the blank? What led you to believe you need to replace your water heater? What led you to believe you need a rewire?" This is where we get to uncover their motive. This is where we get to uncover their why. And more importantly, this is where we get to uncover what information or beliefs do they have so far. In other words, what led you to believe you need a new water heater? Well, we had somebody out and they said it was old and it was going to be really expensive to replace. Well, guess what? What I just uncovered is not only their why and their belief, but I've also uncovered there's competition. Because more than likely, the individual that told them they need a new one has already quoted it. And now what I know is they didn't buy from the person that uncovered that they needed a new one for some reason. So something was missing. And now I get to fill in the gaps. So I don't just say, what led you to believe you need a new fill in the blank? Now I'm going to dig deeper. Now I'm going to uncover some additional things like, okay, great. What research have you done so far? Is there a particular brand that you prefer? I've got to start to dig deeper because the surface level stuff is not where the gold's at. I'm a big adventure expedition gold show watcher, and here's what I can tell you: they dig down to find the gold. They dig down to find the good stuff. We've got to do the same thing on sales calls. We can't just keep it surface level. We got to dig to uncover the really good stuff. What research have you done? Do you have any preferred brands? All of that's really, really important. So once we've uncovered motive, now we can go into key number 2, which is fact find and discover wants. So here's your first nugget or your first takeaway from today's session. Facts form feelings. You might want to write that down. Facts form feelings. And what I mean by that is that facts that people know create what people believe or how people feel. So when we uncover facts, we can uncover feelings. When we uncover facts, it allows us to move the conversation from needs. I need to replace my water heater. I need a new duct system. I need a new panel. By uncovering the facts and the needs, we can shift the conversation from needs to wants. And when we shift the conversation from need to wants, what we're able to do is now uncover or discover unrealized wants. So it's, I need a new AC system, but how we formulate the conversation and how we have, and the questions that we ask is how we can uncover unrealized wants. So when we're talking about this discovery process, we should have a minimum of 5 standardized questions that we're going to ask based upon the situation. And then from there, we'll continue to dig and uncover based upon their responses. So based on the information that's on the screen here, so HVAC, the system's not working, they need to replace their AC system. Electrical, the panel's got the main breaker tripping and they need to replace the panel. Plumbing, there's no hot water, they need to replace the water heater. Do me a favor, chat it into the chat box. What's a question that we could ask that might help us uncover unrealized wants based upon your trade and the scenario that we have in front of us? What's a question that we may be able to ask based upon I need a new AC system, I need a new panel, I need a new water heater, that may help them bring forward an unrealized want. So Cole says, do you know how long electrical panels are supposed to last for? Great. So now we're helping them. We're providing them we're going to be able to provide them some information as the expert to understand why replacing the panel is so important. What else do we have as far as being able to uncover some unrealized wants? The plumbing authority, Keith, love that. When the unit was working, did you ever run out of hot water? Think about how powerful that is. So they're going, okay, I need a new water heater, but because they're in this state of I have this need, they may be overlooking some very critical stuff like, hey, the last one didn't actually keep up when it did work. Anchor, have you done any research on what kind of water heater you may be interested, either a tank style or tankless? Excellent. Are there any rooms in the home that it takes a really long time for the hot water to get to? If I'm AC, are there any areas of the home that are hotter or colder than the rest? If I'm electrical, it may be, is there any room in the home that you're unhappy with the lighting? Are there rooms in the home that you tend to spend most of your time? Do you have a lot of smart products? Do you use a lot of electronics? All of these things are questions that we can ask to get beyond just a panel, just a water heater, just an AC system. Let's see, Ryan says, if there were other water heating options that would work for your home, would you want to know about them? Exactly. It's important that we remember when we're there and we're doing the discovery and we're asking the questions. As the professional and the expert, we know what we know. What we have to realize is that our clients don't know what they don't know. And so even though we live in the age of information and there's all kinds of information at your fingertips with the internet and AI and everything that's out there today, none of that matters if you don't know what to ask. And so because the clients don't know what to ask, they don't uncover what's possible. So it's our job to make sure that we're doing the asking for them to help them realize some unrealized wants. Like there are hot and cold spots in the home. We do have very dry skin or get shocked all the time in the wintertime when we're walking across the carpet. All of those things are a part of it that they don't even realize we can solve with what we're talking about doing. But what's important is that our discovery process is a conversation and not an interrogation. So what I'm not, like what I think of back in the day is when I used to go to the mall, when going to the mall was a thing, and I used to go to the mall and I used to walk around the mall, there would be people that were standing in the mall that had clipboards and they wanted you to answer a survey. They had surveyors in the mall and they wanted to ask you questions about different things because they were there to gather information, right? So just like we're there to gather information, they were there to gather information. The difference is it felt like an interrogation when they're just asking a question to check the box on asking the question. And so it's important that when we do it, we're not just running through our discovery questions to get them asked and answered. We're having a conversation. So it's really important that the conversation comes from asking a quality question. Are there any rooms in the home that stay hotter or colder than the rest? Listening to the customer's response and then asking a relevant follow-up question. Now it becomes a conversation, not an interrogation. And it starts early with, out of curiosity, how long have you guys lived in the home? Oh, we've only been here about a year. Oh, really? If you don't mind me asking, are you just new to the home or are you new to the area? No, we're new to the area. Okay, if you don't mind me asking, where'd you move from? What brought you out to? Now I'm having a conversation. I'm not just peppering with question after question. I'm asking relevant follow-up questions based upon good quality questions to begin with. And you do this by framing your questions in more of an open-ended question rather than a closed-ended. So, for example, going back to the hot or cold, rather than saying, do you have any hot or cold spots in your home? That's a yes or no question, which means they're going to answer it and then it's asked and answered. It's closed. And now I have to just pepper them with another question. Whereas if I say, where in the home do you have hot or cold spots that stay warmer or colder than the rest of the house? And they say, oh, in our bedroom. Now I can say, out of curiosity, where is the bedroom located in the home? Now, is it both hotter in the summer and colder in the winter, or is it just one or the other? Now there's relevant follow-up questions and there's great conversation from an open-ended question. Key number 3, education. Key number 3 is education. When it comes to education, here's what we know. Educated buyers make educated buying decisions. The confused buyer does nothing. Remember that. What people are looking for in the buying process is clarity. When people say I need to think about it, when people say I need to talk to, when these things come up and people decide not to take action, it's because there's some confusion, there's some unanswered questions, there's something lingering that's preventing them from making a decision. So what we have to do is craft our education to make sure that we're checking the box on everything they need to know to make a buying decision. Because educated clients make educated decisions. The confused mind says no. There's a way to make sure everything gets covered. We refer to it at Blue Collar as the education book or the brag book. And listen, this is one of those things that if you're old school, it can be a physical book. It can be a physical binder. That's what I rocked with when I was selling. I had a physical binder that I carried around and it walked through everything that it needed to walk through in order for me to answer their questions about air conditioning and heating. Today, it can be an online version. It can be a digital version. It can live on your iPad or your tablet or your laptop. The point is you have to have an education book. So out of curiosity, do me a favor, chat it into the chat box. What type of information does a client really need to know about a product to create enough confidence to buy? What are some of the things that a client needs to know? Chat it in the chat box based upon your trade. What types of things might a client need to know in order to have enough confidence and clarity for them to buy? What might be some things that we need to educate on? Olin Plumbing, perfect. Warranty. In today's world, warranties are gold. Like when you can eliminate or reduce the risk of moving forward by educating on warranties, incredibly important. Let's see. Had a few things come in at once. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything. TrueTech. Oh, got lots of stuff coming in now. TrueTech says how it will make their life better, what the warranty is, how it adds value to their home. Anchor says its value, its benefits for the home, the features of the unit, the reliability, the life expectancy, what benefits come from the installation, and what their installation process will look like. That's really important. What does it look like to get this put in? Like people don't know. When I used to sell air conditioning, they're like, is this something that can be done in a day? Does it take multiple days? Like people have no concept of what this is going to take. What am I in for? How much disruption am I going to have? Shane says it's typical lifespan. Absolutely. How long is this thing going to last? Like when I'm looking at this investment, I'm going to do this every 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20? Tell me how long my investment's going to last. Financing options. Absolutely. How can I pay for it? How can I pay for it is a huge question that has to be answered. As the cost of goods has gone up so tremendously since 2020 in the trades, with how much AC systems cost, water heaters, electrical, generators, everything that we're talking about here today, Most people don't have that kind of scratch sitting around. And even if they do I really want to pull 10, 12, $15,000 out of savings? Or do I want to kind of hang on to my cash so that I've got some cash confidence and maybe find a different way to pay for it? So financing is huge. Why the product is better than their existing setup. You guys are exactly right. Now, there's some other really important information that needs to be in an education book beyond just products, like product knowledge, product information, features, benefits, warranties. All of that is incredibly important. How the products operate, what it looks like to install it, how they can pay for it. All of that is very valuable information. There's also some things that we need to have in our education book at a minimum. So let's talk through that. Let me give you guys an idea of what an education book may need to look like from at least the bare minimum. And the reason why is because when we talk about an education book, there are some things that need to be there at a minimum. The other thing is that some of the stuff that we talk about when it comes to products, product information will be on a case-by-case basis based upon what I'm there for. So if I'm there for a new AC system, information about AC products. If I'm there for ductwork, if I'm there for air quality, if I'm there for a panel, a generator, a rewire, a water heater, water quality, repipe. Based on what I'm there for, the product information will vary based upon what product I'm there to talk about. But when we look at what needs to be in our book, absolutely, there's a few things that need to be in our education book that get presented and educate the client on every single time. And so at a minimum, we got to educate them on you. We've got to educate them on you. What makes you different, better than anybody else they're going to come see? How long have you been doing it? How much experience have you had? How many of these things have you done? What type of licenses or certifications do you have? Like what qualifications do you have? That kind of stuff is going to be really important for you to educate them about who they're doing business with. Along with that, the company. What makes the company different and better? I can go get a water heater from 30 different plumbing companies. What makes you better than anybody else? Why don't I just buy the cheapest, right? So then in the company, we've got things like reputation, right? We've got things like reviews, referrals. There's something called social proof, when you can evidence that others are doing it. So for example, when folks come around to my neighborhood and they want a door knock and they want to talk about security, or they want to talk about bug prevention or lawn care or whatever it is, they always start with, hey, it's nice to meet you. I've been in the neighborhood. I've been working with several of your neighbors. Do you know Don and Cindy down here? Do you know Joe and Abby up here? What they're doing is providing social proof that doing business with us is normal and everybody's doing it. So if you're in a neighborhood that you've been in before, being able to reference somebody that you've done work with in this area, in this neighborhood. Then we've got to have trade specifics around how it works. We've got to be able to educate the client around, how does air conditioning work? How does ductwork work? How does airflow work? How does an electrical system work? How does a generator work? How does hot water happen? Like, people just make assumptions that, oh, because this is the closest, it gets hot water the fastest, or this is the furthest, but it's all about how the house is piped and why it may be the way it is. Same thing with ductwork, airflow. Then from there, once we've got trade specifics around how it works, how the trade works, how electrical works, how AC works, how plumbing works, now product knowledge this is done on a case by case. So where all of these are every time, every call, this is case by case, because if I'm there for duct work, I'm not going to be talking about the guarantees and warranties that come with the AC systems that we sell. If their AC system's 5 years old and it's fine, but I'm there to talk about airflow. I'm there to talk about ductwork. I'm there to talk about air quality, whatever it may be. So these are an every time education book. This is a case by case based upon what I'm there for. Okay. So that's how you can build out your education book. So, client education, key number 3, incredibly important. Okay, incredibly important. So let's do this. Let me go reshare my screen and we'll keep rocking and rolling. Cool, there we go. Get my chat back up. You guys are doing when I said show up and play full out, you guys are doing a fantastic job, by the way, so I appreciate it. So now that we're talking about education, properly educated clients, like we said, can make properly educated decisions. It's important that because we hold all the facts, we don't hold anything back. We cannot hold anything back. We just have to give them here's what's possible. Okay. Here's what's possible so that they can make a decision. Because here's what I know. Most clients aren't looking for the base. Most clients aren't looking for the basics. Most clients that buy the base or the basics do so because they're uneducated about what's possible. Look at the home you're in. Look at the cars in the driveway. Look at the stuff in the house. Are they minimalists? Or are they buying your bottom option because we just didn't do a good job educating them about what's possible and what makes sense? Key number 4, professional presentation. How you present plays a large role in your outcome. In other words, I can do a great job uncovering motive. I can do a great job educating, asking discovery questions. I can do a phenomenal job at all that. I can put together 3 rock solid options. But if I can't eloquently present those options, the presentation could be what's killing my results. It could make all the sense in the world for them to buy this option here, but they're not, because my presentation about these options just isn't where it needs to be. So when it comes to a professional presentation, it's important that it's polished. Okay. All presentations will be unique to the client, the situation, and the solutions, but all of your presentation should be polished. Watch your filler words. So, because like all those little things that we sneak in there because we don't know how to finish a sentence, stop, and then speak our next sentence. Oftentimes we have crutch words or filler words that we throw in there. We also tend to use filler words when we're describing things as well. So practice your presentation. Put together some options. Put your phone up in front. Record yourself giving that presentation and then watch it back and ask yourself, would I buy from me? Because you're probably going to uncover some opportunities of some things to do that you didn't realize you were doing. And so having a polished presentation is very important. Having response checks along the way. This is those little check-ins to make sure they're with me and they haven't zoned out because of however I'm presenting. And then last but not least, we've got to make sure that our presentation is geared around the outcome, not the product. So this is where it's this option will provide this for you, which will take care of this that we uncovered earlier. Remember when we talked about this is what we'll take care of? It's outcome focused, not product focused. Okay. Key number 5, provide real solutions. Provide real solutions. And what I mean by that is Your solution should make sense to their problem. Your solution should make sense to everything you've done to this point. In other words, don't provide solutions that don't align with the discovery. This is why the discovery process is so important. In the event that we do all of this discovery, we ask all of these questions, and then we just go provide 3 stock options, it means we weren't listening. So if a client's a single individual in the home and they have no issues with hot water, and our top option is a tankless water heater, when they said they don't have an issue with how long it takes to heat up and they don't have an issue with running out of water, then what we just said when we presented a tankless is, I'm just going to present you everything like I do everybody else because I wasn't listening to anything we talked about. If I say that I'm not interested in a super high efficiency air conditioner because my electric bills are great and I'm fine with something that's more middle of the road, and yet you come in and show me a 25 SEER inverter, variable speed with all kinds of crazy stuff, it just tells me right there, as a consumer, you lost me. Now I know you're not here to provide me with solutions. You're not here to consult me or advise me on making the best decision. You're just here to try and sell me stuff. Now, listen, I'm all about making sure that the client knows what's possible, but it's how we go about it. So put this little feather in your cap. When you need to show somebody what's possible, but you know it's not necessarily the right option for them, simply saying something like, I know you said you weren't interested in super high efficiency air conditioning, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't at least show you what that looks like just to give you the full scope. I know you said you weren't interested in, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't at least show you what was possible so you have the full range and full scope of information. Now, I'm just showing you this to make sure that you know everything you need to know. I agree with you. I don't think this is your best option either, but now you know. So it's positioned as an education, not one of my 3 options is really wild and really expensive and it's not for you, but this is how we build options. So don't miss the mark. Everything that you're going to offer in your options has to tie back to your discovery. Okay. So if they don't need a lot of power, if they don't need a smart panel, if they don't need, what did we uncover in our discovery? Our options have to align with that because we need to be able to go to the client and say, any one of these 3 options would be an excellent decision on your part. Not, hey, if you buy this one, you're crazy. Or if you only buy this, man, you're missing out. What is it that ties back to the discovery? Okay. Key number 6, the last one. Ask for the order. Seems silly, right? We're on a sales call. We're there. We're supposed to sell stuff. But I can't tell you how many times I have seen salespeople do everything they're supposed to do, all the way down to presenting options. And they simply don't ask. And that's what I mean. I've seen it where we can execute every step of the process with perfection and just simply never ask. Now, keep in mind the language, the tone, the body language, everything that you do is important. But the most important thing is just ask. Think of it like this. Asking for the sale is shooting your shot. For those of you that are still in the dating pool, it's going to be hard to get dates if you don't ask people to go on dates. I'm not a relationship expert, but I can tell you that it's going to be hard to get dates if you don't ask people to go on dates with you. And I'm going to tell you that if you're in sales today, it's going to be hard to get people to buy if you don't ask people to buy. So there's your expert knowledge of the day. You got to ask. You got to ask. It just, and here's what I mean, like getting to the end and then saying, so what do you think? Or saying nothing at all. Or I'll email these over to you. Like, no, which one of these do you want to move forward with? Which one of these makes the most sense? Which one of these makes the most sense for you and your family? Which one of these has you most excited? Which one of these would you like to get on schedule? However you're going to ask, you got to ask. Sales get made every day just because someone asks them to buy. And sales get missed every day because somebody doesn't. And when you leave that door open for another salesperson to come in the door, somebody's going to come in and do exactly what you did, but they're going to ask for the order and they're going to get it. You got to shoot your shot. Okay? You got to shoot your shot. So let's do this. Now that we've talked about the 6 keys, here's what I want to do. I'm going to have John throw up a poll here in just a moment. And the poll is right here. Choose an area that you're going to work on your game starting now. Based upon the different keys, which key are you going to go focus on up-leveling your game after today? Which one of these keys are you going to go work on up-leveling your game after today's training? So if you're in those groups, talk about it. Which one makes the most sense? Which one do you want to go up-level? Which one gives us the best opportunity to go improve our closing today? Which one do we have the biggest gap, the most opportunity to improve? Or which one do we think will make the biggest impact? Based upon what you now know, which one of these will go help you close more sales? Looks like we still got a few of you we're waiting on. Let's go ahead, get your answers in. Where are we looking to go level up today? Where are we looking to go level up today? Wow. Looking at some of these answers, I'm loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Waiting on 2 of you. Waiting on 2 of you that haven't answered yet. I'll give you another few seconds, and then we'll go ahead and close the poll and share the results. As you can see, if you don't have a way to answer it right there, you can get a QR code and do it from your phone. I do know that works. We've tested that in-house at Blue Collar. It does work. We did figure out that does work. All right, John, let's do this. Let's go ahead and close the poll and share the results, my friend. So 33% of you said you're going to go focus on uncovering motive. I love that. That's how this thing gets kicked off. So if you know, hey, I'm not doing a great job there, that is a tremendous opportunity for you to go up level. But how about this? 50% asking for the sale. Get down to the end. You've done your job. You've done everything you were supposed to do. You have earned the right to ask them to do business with you today. Don't leave that door open. Just ask them. Because here's what I can tell you guys. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. That's the worst thing that happens. They say no. And you know what happens when they say no? At the end of the day, if you don't make the sale, you live to fight another day. You go to another call. Life goes on. But not asking for the sale leaves that door open. 25% said I'm going to improve my fact finding, 25% on education, 17% presentation, and one of you is going to work on providing better solutions. I love that. I love that. I love that. So thank you guys so much for playing full out today. Let's make sure you get credit for showing up today. Now that we've covered our 6 keys to close more sales. If you want to jump in the Blue Collar Vault, there's 2 ways to get to the quiz. Number 1, you can click Training Resources, click the middle drop down, select the appropriate profit-driven training, or you could select profit-driven training in the search bar and then click search. From there, it's going to pull up profit-driven training, and you will be able to select the appropriate one. Of course, this is sales, profit-driven training sales. You will notice that there is a members-only video. That'll be up tomorrow if you want to go back and rewatch. There will also be a members-only quiz. That is up as of now. That is up as of now. So, remember this. We talked about today the 6 keys to closing more sales. 6 keys to help you close more. It all starts with uncovering motive, because the motive is the client's why, and that's the most important thing that you can uncover. From there, we've got to do a deep dive on our discovery questions to really uncover the unrealized wants, and not just focus on needs, but get them focused on wants as well. From there, client education to make sure that we have created an educated consumer is critically important. From there, we've got to make sure that our presentation is polished and professional. Are we dialed in on what our presentation looks like? Then it's important that our solutions that we're putting together are just that, real solutions based upon motive, the deep discovery dive that we did, and everything that we've uncovered today. Make the solutions about them and their home and their needs and their wants. And then last but not least, you got to shoot your shot. You got to make sure you're asking for the sale. Don't leave that door open. Don't walk away without knowing you did everything you could to earn their business today. So I hope you guys got some good stuff out of today's session. I appreciate you showing up and playing full out. I know it's early for some of you guys. It's later for some of you guys. You're all over. I know that Newfoundland is an hour and a half eastern of Eastern time. So they're way over there. But everybody showed up and played full out today. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Hopefully you guys got some good stuff out of today's session. Thank you all.